Well, I think everyone associated with Georgia State football knows this game week. It's been game week since Saturday, and we've had. I think today may have been our 24th practice of the preseason camp. So we're ready to go out and play, just like every other college coach and college team is in the country. We're ready to go see somebody a little bit different than our teammates and our scouts. So the energy is high, and the anticipation for Rhode Island coming in here Thursday evening is right up there at the top. We've had a really good camp, a really physical camp. We've been blessed that we haven't had to deal with abundance of injuries. Our attitudes are sharp, and our leadership has been fantastic, and so we're ready to go. Today after practice, we had an opportunity to name our captains for the 2023 season, and those guys are our senior quarterback, Darren Granger, senior offensive tackle, Travis Glover, Brykeese Brown, senior cornerback, and we've got a senior in John Trey Hunter, a linebacker. And those are our four captains for the 2023 season. You always look through it, and I let our team vote on those captains after they've been through an off season, the course of a summer, and then now through our preseason camp. And those are the four individuals that have really taken big steps for us. Darren was a captain for us a year ago, and we'll be doing that as well again this year. But Travis, John Trey, Keese, those guys have had an unbelievable off season. Started back in January, the commitment, the tough things that we had to go through. They kept everyone in check, and everyone voted them captain. So tremendous honor. Look forward to their great leadership all year. I think we've got a solid football team. We've got a lot of new faces, so it's going to be real interesting to see what happens actually out there on Thursday evening, because a lot of these guys I haven't seen take the field. When the lights are on and it's for real. So that's going to be an interesting time for me and our coaching staff, an interesting time for them as well when they're stepping into a new system and a new scheme. It's always fun to go out there and see what happens. But we're ready to go. I wish we could play tonight. I wish we could have played this morning. Unfortunately, we can't. But we do know when we can play, and that's Thursday evening against a really good Rhode Island football team that'll come in here ready to play.
Questions?
Storyline out of last year you've talked a lot about is 7 of the 8 losses you had leads in the second half, and point of emphasis trying to improve on strength condition, just being there at the end of games. Is that something you can replicate during camp? And what was the progress?
Replicated that during probably every day in our off-season conditioning, in our weight room, and everything we did. We replicated those types of situations. So yes, we've done that. Started since last January right up through today.
Is it still something that, like, when the games happen, you're going to have to see if that progress is translating?
Well, you only know if you've overcome them when the situation occurs. So when that situation happens, we'll see how we handle it. And you and I will both know at that time whether we've overcome that or not.
With your first game, Rhode Island, what types of challenges do they bring to you all that you feel like will be tough?
Well, first of all, when you're scouting Rhode Island, you think of their quarterback and you think of their offensive line. I think their offense is a real problem, to be honest with you. I think they've got one of the best offensive lines in the country, and when I say that, I mean in the FCS level. They're a very solid football team. Their quarterback is very capable. He's a dual threat guy that's mobile, can really throw the ball. But they've got some big, strong, athletic guys up front. And we all know, how the offensive line goes is kind of how your offense goes. So they're going to present some problems. I think they're going to have the size advantage over us. We've got to utilize our quickness and our elusiveness to get through those holes and create some plays. They're a well-coached football team. They in the last couple of years they've been right on the cusp of really making their mark at the FCS level. So we understand. I know exactly who Rhode Island is. I know exactly what type of football they play, and I know the division all too well. They're going to come in here ready.
Flip into your offensive line. Obviously, you had some positions up for grabs. What were maybe the deciding factors in who ended up getting those 5 spots?
Well, number one, you got to see who can come in and educate themselves in knowing what to do and when to do it. That's first and foremost. You know, you can be as big and as strong and athletic as you want to, but if you're not doing the right things, that kind of negates everything that the good Lord has given you. So that is the first thing that we look to see if they know exactly what to do and when to do it. And then, of course, the athleticism, the physical nature of the pushing the guys around who can literally move a man from one place to another on his own. That certainly comes into play. Our pieces have been set. I feel like we're pretty deep at the offensive line, to be honest with you. I think we have 8 guys that can go out there and really play at a high level. You're going to see probably this year more than what we ever have some rotations in there in that line. I think we've got guys that are capable of playing at a high level. They've practiced well and deserve to go in there. The guys that play the best, of course, in practice start, but I think we have a few other guys that are going to go in there and participate. They'll be a fresh bunch.
At quarterback, the folks over at Georgia Tech, they had quite a battle for their starting quarterback. It sounds like you don't have that problem. So just tell me about why you're confident with your quarterback.
Well, I mean, he's going into his 3rd year being our starter, so you know typically that brings confidence in a coaching staff and a quarterback position room. But I will say this: Michaela Colacerto has had the best camp since he's been at Georgia State. He has really done a nice job maneuvering our offensive football team, putting us in position, making the throws that I didn't think he could make in the past several years, doing it now and leading our football team. I feel very confident with those 2 guys right there. I think Daring, of course, is setting himself up for a really good season. He's got the intelligence. He understands the offensive scheme that we have. He's got the athleticism, the tools to throw the ball. But I think our backup quarterback, Michaela Colacerto, has done a really nice job developing himself as well.
How did you see the defense progress as they're learning the new scheme over fall?
Yeah, you know, one of the things when you're going into a new scheme, and keep in mind they didn't have the spring season to kind of see the scheme. You know, Coach Staggs, I think, came for the spring game, and then it was kind of implementing his scheme through the course of the summer. It's bits and pieces. You got to see, you know, early on when you kind of start putting in a system, you see more misalignments and misassignments, and as they get more comfortable in the scheme of things and start learning the know-how, those start getting minimized, and I think we started minimizing those things in the last couple of weeks of practice, getting ourselves aligning and assigned, and allowing our guys to go make plays.
Kind of piggybacking on that, you had 2 guys in the depth chart who were Coastal Carolina transfers who were in that defense before. Was that helpful, having a couple of guys maybe weren't starting all the way at ground zero with the scheme?
I don't think so. I don't think they were all that much involved in the scheme a year ago. They were young guys. I think they're in the depth chart just because they're players. They've done a really nice job of stepping in there, and they play with great effort. I know Josiah is. I look up every other day, and he's making play after play after play. He's just a football player. It doesn't matter what scheme you put him in. I think he would always show up.
I'm all out.
Working back to the secondary, listed Jalen Tate and Jeremiah Johnson as the starters at safety. Jeremiah started, I think, came in as a corner, but how did you see the transition there to safety and him kind of taking the starting spot for now at safety? Well,
I think the intelligence has to be one thing that you look for in those back end guys. They have to kind of set our coverages, and the motion alignments. You got to be really quick on your feet in making those adjustments. He has done a nice job. He's a very, very confident individual. He's a very skilled individual. I think he plays with a demeanor that he never gets rattled, and that's something you got to have in the back end of that position. I think the transition was very simple for him. He looked like he had played there all his life, to be honest with you.
And there was the or at the kicker spot. What is the plan for place kicking?
Well, I think we're going to go with Liam Rickman, to be honest with you right now. We had an or right there back and forth, and I haven't even told Coach Banks, but, kind of after watching Liam, he's right there. Both our kickers, Isaac and Liam, are very capable of going out there, but I think we're gonna start out Thursday evening with Liam.